General Grievous, a ruthless strategist, a feared Jedi hunter, and arch-enemy of the Republic. However, to millions, Grievous was their saviour and revered by many as a demigod. Before becoming a terrifying cyborg, famed for his lightsaber collection, Grievous was a fearsome Kaleesh warrior known as Qymaen Jai Sheelal. Born on the war-torn and famine-ridden planet of Kalee, Sheelal was born to a long line of famed warriors, with the young boy displaying many of these warrior-like qualities from a young age. During this time, his people were under attack by the technologically superior species known as the Yam'rii. A few decades prior, the Yam'rii, referred to by the Kaleesh as the Soulless bugs or the Huks, had overpopulated their homeworld and began seeking to expand outwards. However, most of the region was already occupied by the Kaleesh, and so they aggressively expanded into Kaleesh territory, plundering minerals and ores for sale on the galactic market. However, their desire for profit was insatiable, and they soon expanded their operations to a much more lucrative but immoral market, the slave trade. The Kaleesh was sold in their millions across the galaxy, their sacred worlds desecrated, and their resources plundered. However, the Kaleesh were a proud warrior race, and soon rebelled, starting the catastrophically destructive Huk War. This war was arguably caused and certainly perpetuated by the corruption and impotence of the late Republic, a fact that would later contribute to Grievous and the Kaleesh joining the CIS. Decades prior to the Huk War, the Republic had been expanding trade onto an area of space known as the Cadoc regions. However, the Kaleesh's neighbours, the Bithaverian, refused to join the Republic. After diplomacy failed, the Republic secretly funded a coup, which ended with the Republic being run out of the system by the Bithaverian. Not wishing to directly confront them, the Republic lied to the neighbouring Kaleesh that the Bithaverian were going to attack them. The Kaleesh believed the Republic's lies and soon attacked their neighbours. The Republic supplied the Kaleesh with weapons, strategists, and Jedi to fight the Bithaverian, who were soon overrun and defeated. However, the war weakened the Kaleesh, and their colony worlds were quickly overrun by the Huk. The Huk were allied with the Trade Federation, a faction which held great influence within the Senate, and so the Republic turned its back on their Kaleesh allies, allowing their worlds to be conquered and their people to be sold into slavery. By the time Sheelal was born, the Huk weren't just attacking the Kaleesh colony worlds, but were attempting to invade Kalee itself. The war became so desperate that Sheelal was forced to fight the Huk as a child soldier. His father taught him to use a primitive slug thrower rifle, and the young Kaleesh soon became an excellent marksman. By the age of just 8 years old, he had killed over 40 Huk, and many Kaleesh began to view him as their saviour. During his early 20s, he teamed up with another fearsome Kaleesh warrior named Qymaen. According to Kaleesh legend, the pair met through a dream. Sheelal was said to have had a vivid dream of himself venturing into the jungle before killing a mummu with a pair of lig swords. Dreams were a big part of Kaleesh culture, and was said to connect the living with the souls of their ancestors. This dream held great significance to Sheelal, as the mummu was strongly associated with his recently deceased father, whose mummu skull mask Grievous proudly wore. The Kaleesh was so taken by this dream that he decided to make it a reality, venturing to the jungles to kill a mummu. However, during the hunt, he stumbled upon a female Kaleesh wielding 2 lig swords. He realised that the hunter in his dream had not been himself, but was in fact Qymaen, while he was in fact represented by the mummu. This fulfilled an ancient Kaleesh prophecy known as the Dreamer and the Dreamt One, and many began worshipping the pair as demigods. Together, they would go on to kill many Huk, solidifying their place as legends in Kaleesh society. He taught her how to use a slug thrower rifle, while she taught him how to wield a sword, and the pair developed an incredibly powerful bond. However, on one fateful day, Sheelal was separated from Qymaen. She was violently killed at the hands of the Huk, and her body dumped into the sea. Without a proper burial, her soul could not properly travel to the afterlife, and she would not be able to take her place as a warrior goddess. Sheelal made the perilous journey across the ocean to an island that was said to be the barrier between the heavens and the material world. He pleaded with the gods for them to show him the location of her body, but in response, all he heard was silence. After Qymaen's death at the hands of the Huk, he tried again to live a normal life. He took 10 new wives and fathered 30 children. However, no one could replace Qymaen. Sheelal realised that his fate was to eternally grieve his former lover, and so he changed his name to Grievous. Grievous would amass an army led by his 8 bodyguards known as the Isvoshra, using his newfound anger to drive the Huk from the Kaleesh homeworld. However, his lust for revenge would not stop there. Under the command of Grievous, the Kaleesh would plunder and destroy many Huk colony worlds, with little distinction being made between military and civilian targets. Whole planetary populations were wiped out under the wrath of General Grievous, with the worlds reclaimed for the Kaleesh. The Huk would turn to the Trade Federation for help, who petitioned the Republic to get involved in the conflict. The Republic soon dispatched a force of Jedi Knights to the sector, and very soon the war was over. With the Trade Federation backing the Huk, the terms of peace were extremely one-sided. General Grievous and the Kaleesh were presented as aggressors and genocidal maniacs. Any evidence of the Huk's invasions of the Kaleesh colonies and homeworld were dismissed, probably due to the fact it implicated the Republic as bystanders and backstabbers. Harsh economic sanctions and reparations were placed on the Kaleesh. To Grievous's horror, many millions would die in famines as a result, including many of his wives and children, exacerbating his hatred of the Republic even further. The intergalactic banking clan saw great promise in Grievous, offering him the role of enforcer in exchange for large loans to his people. Reluctantly, he would take up the offer and would become a highly successful debt collector for the intergalactic banking clan. However, while Grievous was away from his homeworld, the Huk would take this opportunity to vandalize sacred Kaleesh burial grounds. Grievous was enraged to learn that the Republic had done absolutely nothing, confirming to the Kaleesh general that they were firmly on the side of the Huk. Abandoning his contract with the intergalactic banking clan, he would return to his homeworld to take vengeance against the Huk. However, the intergalactic banking clan were not happy with this turn of events, and conspired with the Sith to make Grievous's servitude far more permanent. As Grievous whipped up his people into another war with the Huk, the intergalactic banking clan planted an iron bomb on his ship and rigged his seat to eject when the bomb exploded. During the explosion, all but one of his close friends and bodyguards, the Isvoshra, would perish, while Grievous would be mortally wounded and ejected into the ocean. However, he was rescued soon after, with Dooku using the Sith heart stun technique to stop him from succumbing to his wounds. Grievous, however, was not as wounded as the Sith would have liked, and would likely have recovered. They added additional wounds in secret to fuel Grievous's anger, while planting the false idea that it had been the Jedi who planted the bomb. Grievous was then encased into a cybernetic suit, reminiscent of the ancient Krath war droids of the Old Republic era. Dooku ordered for Grievous to be bathed in the force-sensitive blood of Cypher Diaz, while also altering his brain to make him more aggressive. When Grievous awoke, he was horrified by his new droid-like appearance, lashing out in anger at those around him. Just like how the encasement of Vader into his suit saw the death of Anakin Skywalker, the same could be said of Grievous. Qymaen Jai Sheelal was now dead in body, mind, and spirit, replaced instead by the monstrosity that was General Grievous.